Everybody, welcome to the videos from my core plays for week 9 of the NFL season over on Draftkings. So my straight up favorite plays on this slate. Also, if you find this video helpful in any way possible, please leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really do appreciate that. I know that 50% of the people watching these videos are not yet subscribed, so if you're a frequent visitor of the channel, take the time out of your day to do that, and I really do appreciate that. If you're going to follow me over on social media, the handle's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And if you want to support the channel over on Patreon, links in the description below for that. Without further ado, let's dive right into today's video. Alright guys, so leading off with core play number 1, we have Chase Edmonds at $6,800. We do not have Kenyon Drake, so Chase Edmonds is going to be the clear-cut RB1 in this offense. And this is a pretty good offense. They score a lot of points, and there's a lot of good players here. We have Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and now we have Chase Edmonds, and we're finally going to get dusty Kenyon Drake out of the way. And he was getting plenty of volume, so Chase Edmonds, we should expect around 20 to 25 touches here, maybe even more if you want to get crazy, but we should see around 20 touches, and he was the main pass catcher running back, which is going to give him a really nice floor here on DraftKings. If we're looking at his receiving numbers so far this season, around 4.5 targets per game, a 13.5% target share, and a 23% weighted opportunity share. And this is a fantastic matchup versus Miami, one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. And they're actually ranked dead last, 32nd DVA versus the run, and they're allowing 26.4 DraftKings points into running backs, which is 24th in the league, and over 100 rushing yards per game as well. And actually, something I don't mention most weeks, if you want to get specific into the offensive line versus defensive line stats, the Arizona Cardinals offensive line is actually one of the best, getting 1.87 yards before contact, and the Miami defensive line, one of the worst in the league, allowing 2.64 yards before contact. So I think this is an excellent spot for Chase Edmonds. He's also going to be involved as a pass catcher, which is going to give him a great floor over on DraftKings. And the thing is, he was putting up good games even with Kenyon Drake playing. So when you take that out of the equation, I mean, this is really just a smash spot for Chase Edmonds. And I mean, great matchup here. And Kenyon Drake, he was averaging about 17 rushing attempts per game and about 1.5 to 2 targets per game. So if you take that out of the equation, Chase Edmonds, he's an excellent spot here as the clear-cut RB1 in this offense, and I'm very excited to play him this weekend. And then going into core play number 2, we have our first wide receiver on this video, and we have Tyler Lockett at $6,800. And I know he busted last week, and I did prefer him over DK Metcalf, which obviously that did not work out at all. DK Metcalf went absolutely beast mode, but he's $1,000 cheaper than DK Metcalf this week. And I feel like every single week we want exposure to at least one of these Seattle Seahawks wide receivers because they tend to go off each and every single week because Russell Wilson is playing out of his mind this season. And it's a very concentrated offense. You know where Russell Wilson's getting the ball to. It's either going to be DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. For the most part, yeah, there's a couple of other guys sprinkled in, but those are the two main guys, and I really like Tyler Lockett's price point this week, and I definitely want exposure to this game. This is the best game for DFS purposes this weekend. 55 over-under, which is the highest on the slate, and the Seahawks have a 29 implied team total, which is only behind the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. So definitely in on Tyler Lockett, and the thing is, he's got the better individual matchup as well. Now, I said this last week, so again, I could be wrong once again, but DK Metcalf last week was going to be matched up against Jason Verrett. Obviously, did not matter, but this week, he's going to see a handful of Tre'Davious White, who we know is a pretty darn good cornerback. So Tyler Lockett, he plays a lot of this time in the slot. He's not going to be seeing Tre'Davious White. So assuming Tre'Davious White is able to at least keep DK Metcalf in check, I'm not saying DK is going to be absolutely blanked in this game because he's not. He's just too good for that. But Tyler Lockett's going to see the softer coverage here, and I can see Russell Wilson looking his way just a little bit more. Now, overall, the Buffalo Bills are pretty stingy versus wide receivers this season. They are 22nd DVA versus the pass, which is pretty weak, but they're allowing the 6th fewest points per game to wide receivers. So again, not the greatest matchup in the world, but Tyler Lockett does have a pretty good wide receiver versus cornerback matchup advantage per PFF this weekend in the slot versus quarterback Teron Johnson. So I'm in on Tyler Lockett. I like this price point, and if you want exposure to this game, you can get a really nice price on Tyler Lockett, one of Russell Wilson's top options at fair price tag, like I think I already mentioned 12 times. But definitely like this game and really in on Tyler Lockett this weekend. And I do expect him to be pretty high owned, and I think he's an excellent cash game option. Then getting into core play number 3 of our second running back I'm going to talk about, and that's James Conner at $6,900. Pretty similar play to Chase Edmonds in regards of salary and just being in a very good spot versus a pretty poor defense. And the Pittsburgh Steelers get the face off versus the Dallas Cowboys, so you're going to be rolling out Garrett Gilbert at quarterback. So I expect them to be playing with the lead for the majority of this game. Vegas would agree. They are 14.5 point favorites on the road, and they have one of the highest implied team totals this week at 29.25. And I think game flow wise or game script wise, this is going to set up really well for James Conner. I think he's going to see the ball 20 plus times on the ground. Should get a couple of catches as well, but we're looking at around 20-30 touches from James Conner. Now, I know he can be a bit what's the word I'm looking for? Fragile. Yeah, I know he's left plenty of games with injuries. I mean, not really this season. He's been pretty good, but I mean, overall, we know the risk with James Conner, but this is an excellent spot for him. Dallas is one of the worst defenses in the league, and if they're going to be 14.5-point favorites here, I expect them to be playing with a double-digit lead for the majority of this game. We know how good their defense is. They should be able to shut down that Cowboys offense, who's not going to be without Zeke Elliott. So really, this just sets up well for a really good James Conner game. And on the season, he's getting about 16 carries per game. Not a huge shot in the passing game, around 3 targets per game, but still, it's just a fantastic matchup versus Dallas. They're 29th DVOA versus the run, and they're allowing 138 rushing yards per game and about 1 rushing touchdown per game as well. So I'm in on James Conner this week. I think he's in for a fantastic game, and I think his price point's actually very, very good. He's easy to fit in your lineups. I know Dalvin Cook is an awesome play this week. There's no denying that, but you can get some really decent mid-range running backs in James Conner and Chase Edmonds this week and be able to spend up at other positions. Again, not saying Dalvin Cook is not a good play, but you can save some money with James Conner and Chase Edmonds, and I think you can get at least somewhat similar production. I don't think their ceilings are going to be as absolutely high as Dalvin Cook. We saw last week he scored over 51 DraftKings points, which I don't think these guys are really capable of doing that. I mean, there is an off chance they could, but I think they're going to be very solid for their price tags, and they draw fantastic matchups. And now we have core play number 4, and it's our second wide receiver we're going to talk about, and it's Marvin Jones at $5,100. And this is mainly just due to the fact that Kenny Golladay is going to be out for this game, and we got news that Matthew Stafford should be good to go for this game, which is a huge boost for Marvin Jones because he has big play upside, but if Chase Daniel was going to be the quarterback, that really limited that because we know Matthew Stafford does not have any issues just chucking the ball deep. So I'm definitely in on Marvin Jones, and I'm glad we got news that Matthew Stafford should be good to go before I made this video because I was a little bit hesitant on Marvin Jones because if it was Chase Daniel, like I said, we'd have some issues here, but definitely in on him with Matthew Stafford at the helm. And I like this game for fantasy purposes. We have a 52-point over-under, only a 3.5-point spread, and the main reason I like him is just because Kenny Golladay is going to be out, and if we're looking at Kenny Galladay's numbers this season, around 7 targets per game, around a 20% target share, and you got to take that out of the offense. So Marvin Jones is going to operate as the wide receiver 1. Now, I know early on the season when Kenny Golladay was not playing, Marvin Jones really didn't produce much at all, but this is a fantastic matchup versus Minnesota. They're down 3 quarterbacks this week, and overall, I mean, they're just a bad secondary, but now they're missing 3 guys. They're allowing the 3rd most DraftKings points per game to the wide receiver position, and nearly 50 DraftKings points per game, nearly 200 receiving yards per game, and over 2 receiving touchdowns per game, and that's just 2 wide receivers. So this is an excellent spot for Marvin Jones. I know he's not really a consistent wide receiver, but with Kenny Golladay out, I think this is a really good spot for him. I could definitely see him have a very, very nice day. So definitely in on Marvin Jones this week. And then the 5th and final core play of this video, we have Brandin Cooks at $5,500. Big fan of the Texans offense this week. I think Deshaun Watson, David Johnson, as ugly as that sounds, Will Fuller, and Brandin Cooks are all good plays this week. But I like the savings we can get with Brandin Cooks, and I think we have similar upside to Will Fuller here. And he's actually been playing very, very good the past 3 weeks, and he's been getting plenty of volume as well. Just the past 3 weeks, his target numbers have been 12, 9, and 9, so he's pretty much averaging double-digit targets per game the past 3 weeks, 8, 9, 7 catches. And actually, in Week 5, he faced this Jacksonville Jaguars defense, which is ranked 32nd DVOA versus the pass. He had his best game of the season, 33.1 DraftKings points, 8 catches, 161 yards on 12 targets, and a touchdown as well. Not saying that's going to happen exactly again, but this is a very good spot for Brandin Cooks, and he's the cheaper of the 2 of him and Will Fuller. So I'll just take the salary savings we get with Brandin Cooks, and he's obviously an excellent pairing option with Deshaun Watson this weekend. And I'm definitely in on this Texans offense. It's a great spot versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the worst defenses in the league. And they have a team total of 28 this week. Now, they are 6.5-point favorites, so I'm not sure if it's going to be really much of a back-and-forth game. But this Houston defense is pretty bad. I know Jacksonville is trying out a new quarterback this week, so we'll see how that goes. They could certainly be up in this game, and maybe David Johnson's used a little bit more than the passing game is. But if this defense just continues to be a little bit leaky and at least keeps Jacksonville alive in this game, I think we can definitely see a really big game from Brandin Cooks at his price point. So I'm definitely in on him once again. I liked him a couple of weeks ago. I believe that was versus Tennessee. The Jacksonville game, I was a little bit worried about him because he blanked the week prior against Minnesota, one of the worst defenses in football, but he's definitely bounced back since then. He's been definitely one of the more focal points of this offense. So I really like Brandin Cooks at $5,500. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. So I hope it was helpful. If it was, make sure to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. I really do appreciate it. If you want to follow me over on social media, I'm at Pennell16 on Twitter, CPen16 over on IG. And if you want to support the content, or the channel, whatever it is, over on Patreon, link is down in the description below. You can get access into the entire NFL DFS data sheet, which I have my cheat sheet on there with all my notes, the projections. I have my Discord chat and some other stuff on there as well. And I think that's pretty much all I got to say. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you guys enjoy a good day of football tomorrow, and hopefully your lineups look pretty fantastic. I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys in the